So beginning with the left outer join, I have the typical Venn diagram for left outer join represented over here. And as we discussed before, whenever we're going to perform a left outer join between the two tables, it is going to return the rows which are common between the two tables, and also only those rows which are specific to the left table only. And it is going to completely ignore all the rows which are inherent to the right table. Now, what is exactly the left table and what is exactly the right table? Well, they simply represent the table which the left table simply represents the table which was written before the word left join, and the right table simply represents the table which was written after the right join. So let's take a look at the MS Access code for this. So this is again our standard codes about the biodata data set and the paycheck data set. And as you can see over here, I have selected some variables from these two data sets, and I want to perform up a left join between biodata and paycheck. Now, if you recall from the beginning of this session, I mentioned that the left table is simply the table which is written before the left join. So biodata becomes our left table, and paycheck becomes our right table. And if you look again at the kind of results we might expect from a left join is the left join is going to give me the rows which are common to both of these tables, and only those rows which are specific to the left table only. So let's look at these two scenarios one by one. So let's first identify what are the common rows between these two tables. So we go on to the biodata data set, and we also go on to the paycheck data set. And following from the previous session, we know that besides the 6th, 8th, and the 10th row, there are all the other rows are common between the two data sets. That is, the employee code is common among all of the other rows between these two data sets. The difference is the 6th, 8th, and the 10th row. Now we have correctly identified the common rows between these two tables. Now let us identify what are the rows which are unique only to the left table. That is, what are the rows which are only in biodata but not in paycheck. And as we know that it is the 6th row, the 8th row, and the 10th row. The employee codes for these three rows are present only in biodata, and none of them really exist in the paycheck data set over here. So when I'm going to run this query, not only would I get the common rows between the two data set, but I will also get all the rows from the biodata data set which are specific to the biodata data set only. So let's try running this. So this is what we get. This is literally we have all of the employee codes which have occurred over here. These have been completely extracted from the biodata data set, because since biodata was the left table in this, and it would have contained those rows which were present only in them, and also the rows which were common to biodata and paycheck itself. So it literally have the complete left table in our query result over here. And this is also in accordance with the Venn diagram over here. It tells us that in such kind of a left join, whole of the left table would be returned. So let's try to analyze the results. So beginning with, we know that all the ID variables have came up sequentially. Then there are the employee codes. Again, they have came up sequentially, and we know that the 6th and the 8th and the 10th row came up because of the fact that these are the rows which are specific only to the left table, to the biodata table, and the other rows came up because those were the mutual rows between the biodata data set and the paycheck data set. The another thing that you would notice is that although every field here is filled up, the salary field has missing values for the 6th row, the 8th row, and the 10th row. And the reason behind this thing is that when it performed join the left join between the biodata and the paycheck tables, uh, it went on to look for the values of this employee code in paycheck. Now, since no such kind of employee code exists in the paycheck, so there is no corresponding salary also. And the same kind of logic holds for the 8th row and the 10th row also. And the salaries for these individuals simply don't exist in the paycheck. So that is the reason in the queries results it didn't really return the results for the sixth table, sixth row, eighth row, or the 10th row. So another thing, just like in contrast to the inner join where it had two ways of representing the same kind of a join using the inner join keyword or the on the where clause in the another syntax. The inner join syntax is only just one in number. That is, there is just one syntax for representing up a left in a left outer join in SQL. So the one which we discussed right now. So in the next session, we are going to discuss about the right join. Hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you for watching.